Hi there, welcome to our channel. In this video, I'm going to give you a complete rundown of your options for where to stay at Zion National Park, along with some of my suggestions. On our channel here, we try to give you useful tips for visiting some of the places around us that we love so much in the Rocky Mountain area. And we also try to give you interesting information about these places. So if that sounds like something that interests you, please click the subscribe button. Okay, I read a million reviews for this to prepare for this video, so that's kind of my methodology. Is I just looked at TripAdvisor, read a bunch of reviews, and I focused especially on the owner responses. So on the negative reviews, did the owners respond, and how did they respond? Was it genuine or was it just a canned response? So one thing I've noticed about TripAdvisor is when they give an aggregate rating or ranking, they don't seem to make sense all the time. I don't really trust them on their aggregate scores. So I like to dig deeper and read the reviews and see if I can spot some trends. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the map to show you so you get a visual. I'm a real visual person. I wanna know where these places are. So I'm gonna go to the map to show you some places here. First thing we'll do is zoom in on Zion National Park. See this canyon right here, or that road right there? That is Zion Canyon. That is the main canyon to Zion National Park. And there is one place to stay inside the park, and that is Zion Lodge. The rooms run from $220 a night to $284 a night. It's $10 for each additional person though. They do not have Wi-Fi, and you need to understand that Zion Canyon doesn't have cell coverage either, so you're kind of off the grid if you stay there. They have a restaurant and a cafe there, and they do recommend that if you're going to eat at the restaurant for dinner that you get reservations ahead of time. You can reserve a room at Zion Lodge up to 13 months in advance, and you do it through a vendor, through a contractor. I'll put the link to that in the description. They do not allow pets there, so if you have a dog or a pet, there is something called the Doggy Dude Ranch in Springdale, Utah that you can put your pet while you're vacationing. Okay, the next spot here is the city of Springdale. This is a very cute little town that sits right outside of the park. There are over 30 places to stay in this little town, so obviously I'm not going to go through all of them. But there were three in particular that stood out to me. And by the way, Springdale's going to be a little more expensive than the other places on this list for the most part, because the closer you stay to the park, the more expensive it is. That's just the way it is. So the three places that stood out to me in Springdale were Zion Canyon Bed and Breakfast. This had insanely high reviews. People just love this place. It is priced competitively around $170 to $205 during the peak season. Their rooms are named after the formations in Zion National Park, which is kind of cool. Obviously they serve breakfast, they're B&B. I do not think they have a pool or a hot tub though. Check on that, I could be wrong. The next place in Springdale is the Desert Pearl Inn. A lot of people commented that they loved their room, which was right next to the river. So if you call and if you get it far enough in advance, you might be able to get a room that's right along the Virgin River. So the Desert Pearl Inn. And then finally, one that I think might be among the best value that you get there is the Best Western plus Zion Canyon Inn and Suites. And this place is pretty new, built just a couple years ago, I believe, and I read the reviews on this place. People loved it. The management was really responsive to the negative ones. This really looked like a very nice place. So I know the other two were kind of locals, and this is more of a chain, but really high reviews on the Best Western there. Okay, now let's zoom out a little bit. This road kind of goes down here. There are some places along that road, a few resorts and stuff like that. I'll come back to some of them in a minute here, but I'm gonna go over here to Hurricane and Lavercan. And yes, you heard me right. Even though the city looks like it is hurricane, they pronounce it Hurricane. So that, you know, that'll help you fit in if you go to Hurricane, is to know the pronunciation there. Anyway, the location is great because it's about 30 to 40 minutes away from the park, and there are really a lot of budget options. There's not a lot of really nice options there in that area, kind of budget hotels. But the two that stood out to me were right here in Lavercan, right as you're starting to head up that road to get on the road that goes to Zion. There are two spots, a Best Western Plus and a La Quinta Inn. both right there, and they both got very good reviews. The Best Western slightly higher. I know I sound like a Best Western salesman. I'm not. I don't get paid by them, but we have actually had really good experiences staying at Best Westerns as we've traveled around. We like Best Western, and it came as no surprise to me that on all of these they got really good reviews. They seem to care about customer service, and they're really responsive. So anyway, 2 places there in Hurricane and Laverton that you can stay. Now let's keep going out that way, and let's go to probably the most popular place to stay, which is St. George, the city of St. George. This is a fairly big city for Utah, for the West. There are a ton of condos. This is kind of like a retirement town. It's like where northern Utah goes to vacation in the winter. And so they have a ton of condos, VRBOs, Airbnbs, hotels, all that. Tons of choices there. Costs about $70 to $100 a night to stay there, probably. And the 2 that stood out to me there, again, there's tons, so you can find an option for sure. But the 2 that stood out to me were the Inn on the Cliff. This kind of sits up a little bit higher and overlooks the city. Kind of a cute little place, the Inn on the Cliff. And then the Best Western plus Abbey Inn. Again, they just got the best reviews. They got really, really good reviews. Best Western plus Abbey Inn is what it's called. And then let's move over to the east side of the park here, because some of you are coming from Bryce Canyon or the Grand Canyon or something like that, and you might be interested in staying over on the east side. It's much less populated over there, much fewer options, but some really cool options that might be of interest to you. So this little location, this little junction right here is called the Mount Carmel Junction. There's a Best Western there that might be of interest to you. But what really stood out to me was Orderville. In Orderville, the little town of Orderville, there's a place called the East Zion Resort. And you can stay in yurts and tree houses. I mean, they got some really amazing reviews. Really cool place, looks like. So East Zion Resort in Orderville, I think, would be a highly recommended one. And then there's this little town, Kanab, down here on the border, near the border. It's about an hour away from the park, probably. Now, one thing you need to keep in mind is, like, this Mount Carmel Junction right here, it's about 15 minutes to get to the east entrance of Zion National Park. But then you have to drive on this road and through a tunnel to get to the main visitor center so that you can catch the shuttle to go up the canyon there. And that is about a half-hour drive, maybe. So, you know, you're extending your drive there a little bit if you're staying on the east side, for sure. Anyway, the city of Kanab, there are some pretty affordable options there. The 2 that stood out to me were Canyons Boutique Hotel. Now, a boutique hotel is, you know, something where they have like different rooms. Every room is a little different. So Canyons Boutique Hotel, a little bit more expensive probably than others. And then the Quail Park Lodge is like an old 50s style motel that's really colorful, and it gets really high reviews. People say it's just kind of a quaint little blast of the past. They really like it. So Quail Park Lodge. In fact, I think both of those are owned by the same owner. I could be wrong, but that sounded like a cool place. I would probably stay there at that old-timey place. I want to give you one more location and then a couple of cool glamping resorts. So the location is here in Hilldale. A lot of people probably don't think about this because it seems like it's a little far away. And you do have to kind of travel up this road and then kind of hop over, and it takes about 45 minutes to an hour to get to the park, but that's about the same as from St. George or Kanab, probably. Okay, so the city of Hilldale has a couple of cool little options. One is called Zion Glamping Adventures, I think that's the name of it. And you're really right there next to some red rock walls. Looks really amazing. A glamping area where you stay in some tents or teepees or things like that. And then the other one is called Zion's Most Wanted Inn, which is used to be the home of Warren Jeffs, who was a fundamentalist, an FLDS leader. He's a polygamist. Why it's called Most Wanted. He was wanted for a long time, and now he's in prison, I believe. One thing I want to make sure you understand is that there are polygamists. There are quite a few polygamists down there in Hilldale and Colorado City, this area. And so one thing you should understand is that those polygamists are part of what's called the FLDS Church, which is Fundamentalist Latter-day Saint Church. They have they're a different sect than the main community, the main Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints community, which comprises most of Utah and is located up in the northern area of Utah in Salt Lake City with the temple and all that. Two different religions, really different. They're not the same thing. So a lot of people get that mixed up. Just wanted to clarify that because a lot of people think Utah is just full of polygamists, and it's not. So in fact, there's a reason why they're located in Colorado City across the border, because polygamy is kind of outlawed in Utah. So anyway, now just 3 more places to cover that are kind of cool. There's a place called Under Canvas, which is a glamping place that's located near the city of Virgin. And also a very similar place called Zion Wildflower, which is located fairly close by Virgin as well. And so those are 2 kind of high-end glamping places that you can stay that are up in the Red Rock areas. And then finally, there's a place called Zion Ponderosa that's on the east side of the park. And that is like a ranch. You can stay there it's like a ranch. They have some animals there. They have a lot of activities there that you can do. They have ATVs that you can rent. So that sounds like a pretty cool higher end option if you're into that. Okay, now if you liked this video, if it helped you out, please click the like button. I would really appreciate that. And leave a comment if you're traveling there. I'd love to hear what people are interested in. Do you have questions about Zion? What are they? And make sure to check out our other videos on this channel, because we've done a lot of videos to help you prepare for your trip to Zion, and we have some guides on our website that you can take a look at. So please watch our other videos, and hope you have a great trip.